following video will be explaining the correct process, procedures, and tools needed to replace the V-TEK tip silencer and tip on Predator's third generation shafts. Specifically, the Vantage shaft, Vantage 3 cushion carom shaft, 314-3 and Z3 shafts. Before we get started, let's make sure that we have everything we'll need. Step 1. Removing the existing tip and V-TEK tip silencer. Before we machine any material, it's important to point out that changing the tip silencer should be avoided at all costs. Replacing the silencer forces us to remove vital material from the face of the ferrule and vault plate, which, over time, could reduce front-end strength and durability. Always check the specifications for the product you're working on to ensure that the ferrule length and V-TEK tip silencer thickness are within spec before removing any material. Now, let's get started. You may notice we're being very aggressive here, as you can see how well the tip stays bonded. Now we'll need to ensure that we remove the entire V-TEK tip silencer. We can see that we're there because we now see the white of the ferrule. That's far enough. The face of the ferrule and vault plate are now exposed. Next, we'll clean the face with a little alcohol. Step 2. Preparing the tip to be paired with the V-TEK tip silencer. Here we're going to prepare the back side of the tip. We're using 180 grit sandpaper and a figure 8 stroke. This allows us to keep a nice, clean, flat surface. Looking closely, you can see the tip needs to be cleaned. By blowing it out using our compressed air, we get the pores nice and open. Now that we have some nice, clean, open pores, we're going to apply our Loctite super glue gel to the tip. We want to spread the glue around the entire face so it is absorbed into the leather's pores. We'll now let that dry for a minute. With our super glue dry, we're now going to scuff the glue side in a figure 8 on 400 grit sandpaper, allowing us to remove any high spots that could prevent a solid bond with the V-TEK tip silencer. Next, we're going to clean the scuffed tip face with alcohol and blow it dry, ensuring it's clean. Step 3. Pairing the tip with the V-TEK tip silencer. From here, we're going to apply our Loctite super glue gel to the cleaned and prepped tip surface. We now twist the V-TEK tip silencer and tip together so both faces get sufficient glue. Next, we squeeze them tightly together for 10 seconds so we have a great bond. Step 4. Preparing the paired V-TEK tip silencer and tip for attachment to the ferrule and vault plate. Now, we're going to prepare the back side of the V-TEK tip silencer by scuffing it on 400 grit sandpaper in a figure 8 pattern. With the silencer scuffed, we'll now clean it with alcohol and blow it dry with compressed air. Step 5. installing the paired V-TEK tip silencer and tip onto the ferrule involved plate. With our ferrule face prepped, we apply our Loctite superglue gel. Now, we'll bring up our paired tip and V-TEK silencer and wipe the excess glue off. We'll now wait 1 minute for it to set and be ready to turn it and shape the tip. Step 6. Turning and shaping the tip. With our tip now dry, we can turn it down. We'll start with trimming the excess. We now sand with 240 grit sandpaper and check to ensure the wood, ferrule, and tip diameters are consistent. It's close. Next, we use a bit of 320 grit sandpaper and check again. Now that we have things where we want them, we finish with 500 grit and 600 grit sandpaper. Next, we apply our burnishing cream. Apply some pressure and bring it to a nice high luster. You'll feel it getting warm. This case hardens the tip's leather. Now we'll use a radius tool to start to shape the tip. And then refine the shape using a dime radius. Remember to let the sandpaper and tool do the cutting work for you. Now all that's left to do is to take some 600 grit sandpaper and take the slight edge off the corners. We've now replaced the V-TEK tip silencer and tip on a Predator 3rd generation shaft. Thank you for watching. You're a huge part of our continued success.